The Blades are one of the most important factions in the Elder Scrolls series, and without them the Nerevarine would have never defeated the false god Dagoth-Ur, nor would the hero of Kvatch have saved Tamriel from the Oblivion Crisis, and the Dragonborn would never have stopped Alduin the World Eater from destroying all of Nirn. But as you might be aware, the Blades are not really invested in the events of Tamriel like they used to be. After the Great War, the Blades were disbanded and systematically wiped out by the Thalmor. However, the Blades have since found renewed purpose to destroy the dragons once and for all. Which may be a noble goal, but I seriously doubt the dragons are going to be an important part of the next game. Which means the Blades, as they are, wouldn't be either. Without the Blades, Bethesda does have a lot more options. For example, what if in the next game we are fighting for the Thalmor instead of the Empire? It certainly wouldn't make a lot of sense to have the Blades be the faction that helps us achieve our destiny if that destiny involves building an elven dynasty. And if we were to fight against the Blades, it may just make us feel like we were fighting on the wrong side, which would be detrimental if we are meant to sympathize with the Thalmor. Either way, having the Blades out of the picture certainly makes Bethesda's storytelling less restricted. Despite all of this, I believe that not only will the Blades make an appearance in the next Elder Scrolls game, but they will also be a joinable faction, even if they are not part of the main quest, which is also very likely. So I devised a few possible scenarios that allow the Blades to logically fit into the next game. Imagine you are traveling throughout Elsweyr when you come across a camp of men dressed in legendary Blades armor. You have heard of these warriors, men who fight against the greatest beasts that Nirn has ever seen. They tell you that they used to fight only dragons, but now they will seek out and destroy any terrible monster that is terrorizing the denizens of Tamriel, as is their duty. They have been attempting to locate the Hidden Blades Temple in Elsweyr to gain a new foothold in the southern part of the continent. However, their resources have run low, so you decide to offer assistance. When you reach the temple, you discover that it is protected by dangerous traps and mind-boggling puzzles. You are able to solve each one and defeat the guardians that have protected the temple since the Thalmor incursion. The Blades are impressed with your skill and offer you a chance to join their organization. From here, you go on a series of quests to re-establish the Blades' influence in the province and to slay beasts unseen anywhere else. The storyline ends with an epic fight with the only dragon that has been seen in Elsweyr, giving the organization a renewed sense of purpose and appointing you as the leader in the region. I used Elsweyr as an example, but this could work for other provinces such as High Rock or Blackmarsh and especially Hammerfell. Now I have discussed how they could be implemented into the game as a side quest. However, there is still the possibility that they could be reintroduced into the main quest line. I think that this is less likely, however I am absolutely for this happening, as the Blades are one of my favorite factions in the game. This, however, would require that the main questline make the main enemy be the Thalmor. You are in Hammerfell. Tension between the Red Guards and the Thalmor has been mounting for a very long time now. The current sovereignty is in support with the Thalmor. However, many of the province's citizens have been restless with the Dominion's idea of what is control. The alliance between the two was never very strong to begin with, and the whispers of rebellion are beginning to spread like wildfire. The time to act is now. The game begins with the first spark of this rebellion. You are a prisoner of the Hammerfell nobility. You are going to die. You don't know why, but it doesn't matter. Suddenly you hear shouting coming from just outside your cell. A man appears before your cell and unlocks the door. He tells you that the rebellion has begun. Hammerfell will be free once more. You are not truly invested in this fight, but you aren't planning on staying in your cell, so you help the man take the castle for the rebels. During the fighting, the man seemingly vanished, but there are others who have joined you now. Victory is certainly assured. Later you meet the man again in a bazaar. He seems to be watching something. You approach him and ask what happened to him at the castle, and he tells you to be quiet and sit down next to him. He tells you that there is an elf in black robes just ahead of him. When the man leaves, you must follow him. You are not sure why he is asking you to do this, but you can tell it is important, so you follow his orders. After telling the elf, you are led into an alleyway when suddenly one elf becomes 5. You are a skilled warrior, but defeating 5 clearly battle-trained elves will not be an easy task. Has the man betrayed you? When all of a sudden one of them is struck with an arrow from behind. It is the mysterious man. You draw your weapon and help him finish off the other elves. The man offers you his thanks, and it is here that you discover he is a member of the Blades, and he offers you a chance to join their ranks. You learn that the Empire had approached the Blades in Skyrim, offering them a chance to get revenge on their newfound foe, the Thalmor. The Blades immediately accepted. The Emperor reformed the Blades in secret, now as an agency meant to spy, kill, and manipulate. They were sent to Hammerfell, knowing that it would not take much to start a rebellion against the Thalmor, giving the Empire an edge in a new war. As you can tell, there are some similarities between this scenario and Skyrim. However, while Skyrim's rebellion acted as more of an aside, this time the rebellion would be the most important part of the game. It would give Bethesda a chance to create the war that they had originally imagined Skyrim's to be, with both sides in a constant struggle between taking and retaking cities and strategic points in the province. The Blades would also maintain a role similar to that of Morrowind, where every member acts as a normal citizen, hiding their identities and their intentions. There were hints of this in Skyrim and even in Oblivion. However, when they wished to be the Blades, they were not afraid to reveal their identities in those games. In this case, any random citizen could be a Blade, and anyone else could be a Thalmor agent. The Blade's signature armor and weaponry will no longer be a common item, but will in fact be pretty rare, and you will likely only find it in a late game side quest. You wouldn't catch any Blades members wearing Blades armor or wielding an Akaviri katana like in Skyrim, as that would be a death sentence for them if caught by the Thalmor. Additionally, if the Thalmor discovered the Blades were working with the Empire again, it could mean war before the Empire is ready, which would be disastrous. For the most part, especially for the first half of the game, this questline will require a lot of subterfuge, as the Thalmor are everywhere. Sure, you have freed one castle, but the Thalmor have had a long time to dig their roots in, and taking back all of Hammerfell is not going to be an easy feat. This scenario would really only work in Hammerfell. However, it could potentially work in Elsewhere and possibly Valenwood, but only the parts where the Blades are working against the Thalmor in secret. Now, there is one more potential scenario I want to discuss here, and this time it involves the war between the Empire and the Thalmor in full swing. It took a long time, but the Empire was finally able to regain its strength and heal its wounds from the Great War with the Dominion. For years, they had been planning a way of striking back at the Thalmor and re-establishing their rule once again, and the time had finally come. After hearing of Skyrim's successful rebellion, the citizens of Hammerfell overthrew the Thalmor's iron grip and began establishing itself as an independent province. And elsewhere, rumors began to surface that the Dominion had deceived the Khajiit into turning against the Empire. While there are many that do not believe this rumor, there are those who have established a strong uprising against the Dominion. This was the opportunity the Empire was looking for. They made their strike in Valenwood, taking the Thalmor by complete surprise, and then announcing a declaration of war against the Aldmeri Dominion. The Second Great War had begun. With the announcement, Skyrim quickly joined the war against the Dominion, ready to strike back at those who had dared call Telos a usurper. Hammerfell, having recently gained its freedom and fearing what the Thalmor might do if they won the war, decided to unite with the Empire as well. And so, the true invasion began in the Somerset Isles. You are a prisoner on a Thalmor ship, captured on the mainland. All of a sudden, you hear fighting on the top deck. The ship is being boarded. Good news, hopefully. And then you see it. Soldiers, with the Imperial insignia branded on their chest plates. You have been saved, or so it would seem. The Empire takes you prisoner as well. When you reach the mainland of Somerset, they decide to give you a chance to prove yourself. You are assigned to the Blades, Dragon Slayers, heroes. The Empire plans to use the Blades as a symbol that the Dominion will be defied. But the Blades are no longer truly with the Empire. They are mercenaries as far as the Empire is concerned. Antiques, cannon fodder. And so begins Elder Scrolls 6. So there you have it. These are only a few of the possible scenarios that could take place if the Blades were to make a return in Elder Scrolls 6. While it would not surprise me to see them not be a part of the main questline, I do believe that they will make an appearance somewhere in the game and also be a faction that you can join. If this is so, I doubt they would take the place of another possible faction such as the Fighters Guild, but instead be a unique storyline with their own unique adventures. I welcome you to tell me your opinions on the Blades and whether you'd like to see their return or not. I'm sure not everyone is a fan of this organization and is probably looking forward to something a little different for a change. And while you are at it, make sure to subscribe for more Elder Scrolls content in the future. Lastly, a big shout out to Sawyer Fear. He asked for a shout out forever ago, and I finally have a chance to do it, so there you go, Sawyer Fear.